Welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're getting deep into You Gotta Love Yourself, Part 3. You Love Others Better. Right up next, after these breaks, on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. What up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're getting, like I said before, we're getting deep into You Gotta Love Yourself Part 3, You Love Others Better. But like always, once we don't have a guest, we go back and recap what we talked about last episode in Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So, last episode of Deep Talk, we was talking about why you should love yourself. So when it comes down to it, like, why not? So anyway, let's get into the recap. So when it comes down to it, why you should love yourself? I mean, like I said before, why not love yourself? I mean, when it comes down to it, there's nobody other than yourself who's going to love you the way how you should love other than yourself. And I mean, so why not love yourself? And what loving yourself really truly looks like is actually being there for yourself. What I mean by being there for yourself is about like waking up every day. Like just simple fact, just waking up every day. You don't have to sit there wake up on time every day, but just sitting up, getting up out the bed and doing what you need to do and handling your business. How loving yourself looks like is actually, taking care of yourself, taking care of your hygiene, your looks and whatsoever. Speaking of my hygiene, I know I look kind of a little crazy, but that's besides the point. But what I'm saying is that's how it looks like. Is taking care of yourself. Is if you're a guy, you shave when it's every time to shave, which I need to do soon. It's a woman sitting there taking care of yourself. Make sure it's just when it comes down to it. It's taking care of yourself. Loving yourself is taking care of yourself. So, when it comes down to it. And the benefits of loving yourself is what mainly the thing is, and I don't think I went over last week when we was getting into that. But one of the benefits of loving yourself is healing yourself. Healing yourself. Working on yourself. Making yourself a lot better, a lot stronger. Because let's be real. There's no better love than self-love. No better love than self-love. I mean, the Most High, He sit there, brought us here, and He gave us the power to love ourselves. So, when it comes down to it, man, there's no better love than self-love. And the other benefits of loving yourself, you start to learn how to love yourself in the correct way and begin to understand what needs to be around you, what doesn't need to be around you. And also you learn how to love others correctly. Like really love them how they are instead of how we see them. Because a lot of times when we love others, we love them in our perspective and how we see them instead of who they are. I mean, I am guilty of that at times as well too. So when it comes to it, learn how to love others as you see them. Straight up. So when it comes down towards loving yourself, how it looks like it's loving yourself is compared to like loving a plant. And we're gonna use the plant like I used last week, like a weed plant. I mean, there's no difference in any plant, but I just wanted to use that anyways. And if you hadn't known, I do every once in a while indulge in the smoking of the cannabis. But anyways, back to it. It's like I said, loving yourself it's akin to taking care of a plant, weed plant, whatever plant you want to talk about. You sit there, you water it, on a schedule. You sit there, you feed it. You remove it from different pots to another one. Make sure he's in a good environment. And that's how loving yourself is, by watering yourself every day, metaphorically, obviously. I mean, you don't sit there actually pour actual water on yourself, but metaphorically speaking, you water yourself every day. You feed yourself every day, and remove yourself from environments that you don't need to be around till you can sit there and grow into something gorgeous and beautiful. I mean, that's what it comes down to it. And the times, and wait, yes, so I was getting a little, I got a little scramble over there, but how not loving yourself and love yourself how it really looks like when it comes down to it. Like I said earlier, it's like loving yourself is taking care of yourself. Loving yourself is not taking care of yourself. Not loving yourself is basically staying in bed all day and not making an attempt to actually do something better for yourself. Interesting. Loving yourself is actually going that extra mile, sitting there just pushing yourself so you can get into a better position. Not loving yourself is just giving up each and every time and just say fuck it. That's what loving yourself is. Loving yourself is sitting there and actually doing episodes of Deep Topic with Sony Blaze while you barely shave and looking very crazy. Not loving yourself is not doing Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and using excuses not to record it. What I'm saying is loving yourself is actually doing things that you promise yourself you're going to do. And whatsoever. And like I said before, and it also continues on with once you actually learn how to love yourself better, you begin to love others better, which we're going to actually have a conversation about real soon. But when it comes down to it, when you actually start to begin to really take care and love yourself, there is no better moment but now. Now. So I'm talking to you right there. You who's seeing this right now. There is no better moment but now to start to love yourself. Because when it comes down to it, first of all, there ain't going to be nobody who's going to give you the correct amount of love other than yourself. Yes, your parents, they will sit there and love you as much as they can. I mean, there's not a lot of parents who will do that. I mean, there's a lot of parents that's going to do that, but there's some that doesn't. But to get straight to it, the ones that's going to give you the love and appreciation that you need is yourself. So, learn to love yourself a lot better. And like I said before, this moment that you're actually watching this right now, this moment that you're hearing my words, that's the moment right now to really love yourself. Don't sit there and wait until, next week be like, all right, next week I'm going to attempt on loving myself better, or next month I'm attempting on loving myself better, or I'll worry about it tomorrow. Now, this day now, today, at this moment, while you're watching this, that's when you do the moment to love yourself. This day, right now. Now, after all of that, when you begin to really love yourself and stuff like that, do things that inspire you. Do things that get you motivated. Do things that get you moving forward. Do things that get you out of bed. Like I said, just do things that inspire you. Because, yes, loving yourself is the foundation of it. But then you have to do activities that get you to, that keeps you moving, that keeps you inspired, that keeps you going. Because, you know, a man can't live without bread alone, straight up. So you can't just sit there and just, you know, not do anything else. Like I said before, it's good to love yourself, but also do things that inspire you. If what inspires you to actually help others, help others. What inspires you to sit there and create art and paint. Create art. Making video games, or, you know, doing you know, graphic design, whatsoever. Do whatever it takes to go ahead and inspire you to do something a lot more better than what you have been doing before. But anyways, that's about it for this recap for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, if you just joined me for the first time on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, make sure you go ahead and just you know, give that 1-2 hit on the subscribe button. Make sure you like, and we'll be right back after these breaks on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Anyways, peace. What up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com, and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with my individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're getting into the conversation. You gotta love yourself, part 3. You love others better. So let's get into that. Let's get into the convo. So when it comes down to it, though, man, when you love yourself, you end up loving others a lot better. When you love yourself, you love others better. So what do I actually really am getting at with this? So now, first of all, before we continue on, let me say this. I am not an expert. I'm not like a guru. I'm not a mental health, you know, specialist or anything like that. I am just a regular guy who's recording videos, who experienced a few things and actually seen others experience a few things, and wanted to share my knowledge and my experience in a nice little bow and whatsoever. So let's go ahead. So basically, this is a disclaimer. So I'm gonna say this again. Disclaimer: I am not a guru. I'm not a mental expert or anything like that. I am is just a content creator who's creating content for those who may actually need it, and I'm just sharing the experience and knowledge that I have that I wanted to just go ahead and share with you. That and a disclaimer. Okay, so to get back to it, when you love yourself, you end up loving others. And what I mean by that is like last week's episode, and also with the recap, when you start to love yourself, you begin to learn, you know, the ins and outs of yourself. You sit there, realize your strengths, your weaknesses, your dislikes, your likes, your love. Well, yeah, of course your loves. But what I'm saying is you begin to pay attention to a lot more qualities and quirks that you actually have. And once you sit there and start to learn the qualities and quirks that you have, you begin to apply that with others, because then you start to love others for their qualities and quirks that they have. You begin to sit back and relax and be like, okay, so this person doesn't like this. This is how they are when they're in this situation, or mainly when it comes down to it, you start to better perceive the way how you're supposed to love that individual and how to really love them. Because a lot of times when we do love people, we love them. We don't love them for who they are. We love them in how we see them. So we sit there and just keeps on throwing our love without actually loving them correctly. So when you sit there and love yourself, you start to actually, learn how to perceive and actually view them in their perspective. You begin to actually put yourself in their shoes, and you start to sit there and be like, okay, this is how this person was meant to be loved. It is what it is. So, and to continue that, why loving yourself makes you love others better, like I said before, you start to pick up on things. When you start to love yourself better, you start to pick up on things that you didn't see before. You start to sit there and learn, like, okay, if I was in that person's shoes, I wouldn't like how I sit there and smother this person. Or if I was, looking at their point of view, what I was doing is probably wrong. Because you sat there and you learn, like, a lot of things from yourself. And, like, you know what? There's certain things that I don't like that, that people do to me. So why should I sit there and do the same thing to others? So, like I said before, you tend to learn exactly what to do or not to do. So, when it comes down to it, when you begin to love yourself, you see people of who they truly are. You really see them for how to really, truly love them. And when it comes down to it, when you start to love others correctly, you begin the process of each one teach one. And what I mean by that is the love and knowledge that you share with other individuals, they begin to slowly learn from you and pick up on things that they never thought they could pick up on, because they got the necessary, you could say, equipment or mental faculties that they needed from the example that you have gave. So each one teach one. So when it comes down to it, though, man, it's when you love yourself correctly, you end up affecting the environments around you. It's just like one of those, like, fancy stories of, people purifying areas or something from, and purging evil and stuff like that. It's just something like that. I mean, it's not like that, but you probably get what I'm trying to get at. But when it comes down to it, it's all this is just like that. So remember, though, man, like, when you're loving yourself, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping others. And once you're helping others, you'll begin to start to love themselves a lot better. Like I said before, it's just like taking care of a plant. I mean, you sit there and you make sure you put it in the correct environment. You feed it the right type of food. You put it on a watering schedule to make sure that they grow as best as they can. Straight up. So anyways, that's it about this this segment of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Yeah, so anyways, I have to say I had to record this like a second time. I mean, it wasn't that the first recording wasn't that bad, but I felt like I couldn't done a lot better than what I've done. But we're here again. But anyways, if you just joined me for the first time, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and also that subscribe button. Anyways, thank you for joining me on my corner of the universe. We'll be right back after these breaks on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. What up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, we're getting more into this month theme of You Gotta Love Yourself, Part 3, Loving Others. So, let's get straight to it. So, you have to think of this when you love yourself, and then once you love yourself, you love others better. You think of it as a self-sustaining system. Now, let's see if we can get this good. Let's see if we can actually, articulate this correctly. So we're gonna try. We're gonna try. And also how this is, if y'all notice that I'm gonna mess up a lot, that lets you know that this is real, and this is not just, I mean, there's some scripts into it, but this is just not like complete scripted or, some regurgitated, if I pronounce that right, knowledge and whatsoever. So anyways, let's get back to it. So think of it as a self-sustaining system. First of all, what is a self-sustaining system? Basically, a self-sustaining system is a system that it pretty much perpetually continues to operate and uses itself to continue to operate. So, a best example, let's say, if let's say if miraculously with electricity or something like that. Let's say like rechargeable battery. Now, obviously, this doesn't work in real life, but it's the best way I can give an example of what I mean by self-sustaining system. Let's say if you got a rechargeable battery, so there you put the rechargeable battery in, puts out a charge, and that charge will come back and recharge the battery again, and it does that over and over. It sends out a charge, that charge comes around and recharges the battery with that same charge over and over again. So that's like a very simple way to think of a self-sustaining system. Obviously, it's a lot more complicated but that's what I mean. So now, why am I using that for that? And for the situation, so when it comes to love, so once you sit there and love yourself, like I said before, you start to learn how to, you start to learn how to love yourself correctly. Then you begin to love, and then that love will sit there and affect others. And then you start to sit there and love others. And once you start to love others, what's going to happen is there's a good chance that the people who sit there that's going to get affected by your love will sit there and show the love back. Think of it like another way to think of it as a karmic system. You sit there, you put out what you get back what you put out. You get back what you give. So if you give negativity, you're gonna get back negativity. If you put out positivity, you're going to get back positivity. You know, you get back what you put out. So that's what I'm referring to as a self-sustaining. Think of it as a self-sustaining system. So the more that you love others correctly, the more others will love you correctly. Self-sustaining. So when it comes down to it, when loving yourself applies to a lot of aspects of your life as well too. And what I mean by that is it's about, you know, it's about everything. It's about like how you, first of all, how you perceive the world, how you treat others, how you take care of yourself, how you eat, how you go through life every day. And like I said before, loving yourself applies for every aspect of your life. So when it comes down to it, if you love yourself correctly, and if there's a lot of people that's around you, that it will affect that aspect of your life. So when you sit there and put in that love correctly, the love will sit there and love you correctly. Yes. And that's when it comes down to it. That's when it comes down to it. So one good example that I can really think of is that one good example I can think of that I can give is well, I guess Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. I guess that's one of the best examples I can give, you know, as we continue this conversation. And I believe that I said this a few episodes ago or whatsoever as using that example, but I'm not sure. I can't remember in the top of my head. So, for the example of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, when I first started Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, you know, I was just doing it just to do it, because, you know, I started with like a group of people who's doing podcasts and whatsoever. I was umbrella with some others, and I just needed, you know, something to actually talk about. And then one day I just popped up, you know, Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, when I was in the beginning stages of it, I really didn't really care for it. I just wanted to actually do it, and I was just doing it so I could sit there try to make some money and whatsoever. And also, I was still trying to actually earn something. But Deep Talk, you know, evolved to something, starting to evolve to something different. But anyway, to continue on, and these were the times that I didn't have too much love for myself, so I sat there and just basically what I did was I just threw shit on the wall. I just kept on throwing shit on the wall and see what stick. I didn't, you know, put in some time and effort. I mean, I did start to put some time and effort, but it wasn't the time and effort that should have been. And mainly I use that as an escape as well too. So I sat there, you know, tried to, you know, continue on and use that as a disguise. And the more I put into it, the more that I started to get more depressed and getting, you know, deeper into a hole that I was digging for myself. And it got towards a point that you could say the penultimate of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. I had got a chance to interview somebody I always wanted to interview. But since I wasn't at the moment of truly loving myself, and the moment that I wasn't really 100% for myself, I pretty much kind of collapsed under the weight and pressure of it all. And I mean, and you know, thanks for the people who was there to help me out. But yeah, it just all kind of went crashing down. And then for a while, you know, shit wasn't, that good, push people away. And I was pretty much went to pretty much a hole within myself. So I sat there, wasn't feeling that great for myself, and like I said, it wasn't that great. And then fast forward until today, at this point in time, I started to slowly learn more about myself. I start to love myself a lot more than what I never thought I could have. And then also it was help of others as well too. And I start to actually, realize like, oh man, no, I'm a dope ass individual. I'm dope as fuck. So and I kept on, working at it until I got to the point of July of 2025 that things happened whatsoever. And then because a few times I sat there, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it, but never got a chance to actually got into Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. But then one day I just after a certain thing happened, I decided you know what, let me go straight to it. So now, in the cusp of it all, what I have done was with each episode, I use aspects of my life, and use that to sit there and construct these episodes and whatsoever. And I know for a fact that, since I put a lot more love and care into it, that's going to affect others who's going to watch it. And so, I mean, even though as of this moment now, it's, Deep Talk is not that big, but it started to affect others, in a positive way. Every once in a while I get a message being like, thank you, I need to hear that, or and so forth and so forth. So when it comes down to it, once you sit there and truly put the love and effort on yourself, the fruits of your labor will sit there and feed others when it comes down to it. So hopefully that gives a good example of it. And I have to say I'm proud of myself to sit there and use that example. Anyways, that's about it for this segment of this this part of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Anyway, we'll be right back after these breaks. And if you just following me or watching this for the first time, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber or a follower of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'll be right back after this breaks on Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. What up? Welcome to my corner of the universe. If you want to sit there and advertise for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze and have your products or services be placed here, let us handle it for you. So doesn't matter if you're a small business, you're a big business, you got products, artworks, whatever it is, let SBC handle your workload, okay? Let us handle your workload. So go ahead and email us at sonyblazecorner.com and we'll get that to you as soon as you can. Peace. Welcome back to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, where we get to have deep intellectual conversations with high-minded individuals right in the smoothest city in the world, Rochester, New York. I am your very knowledgeable host, Sony Blaze, and welcome to Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Today we're just continuing the conversation of You Gotta Love Yourself, Part 3, How You Love Others. So let's go ahead and continue on with this. So, I have to say, this one's I want to say it was tough, but it was something. But we're almost done with this, and we're about to go ahead and just end this real soon. But, anyways, what's the benefits of loving others? What are the true benefits of loving others? Well, as I said earlier about the self-sustaining system, the benefits of loving others and loving others correctly, is they will love you better and love you correctly. When it comes down to it, just think of it as like a leader, like a beloved leader. Like, let's think about the difference between Obama and Trump and whatsoever. Like how much love people really truly gave Obama and how much hate they gave Donald Trump. When it comes down to it, how Obama sat there and lead with example and put his time and effort and make sure, to actually truly actually make America great again, and actually lead pretty much with with love and leadership, and then not vice versa, and then the other side of that coin, as we see how Donald Trump does it, he does it with racism, hate, and whatsoever, and scheminess, and how people are reacting and treating him. Like each and every day you see people wishing bad for him. I'm not gonna say too much because let's just say it's like a lot of people really want him to actually end his reign pretty soon. Let's put it that way. So, like I said, I'm not gonna say that because you shouldn't say stuff like that. I mean, because this is where the country that when it comes down to it, like if any country ain't supposed to say certain things, so you can't say certain things, but there's certain things you shouldn't say. But back to it, when it comes down to the benefits of loving others is they begin to sit there and treat you a lot more better. They're going to start to treat you right. They're going to start to love you correctly. Now, it's not always going to happen right off the bat like this. It's going to be sometimes others is going to sit there and try to use your love into their to their advantage and actually take advantage of you. And that's how it is. That's how life is, and it is what it is. But when it comes down to it, when you do love others, that's good. There's a good chance that more than not, there's going to be people who sit there is going to reciprocate that love. When it comes down to karma and whatsoever. Now, with those others who sit there and probably try to take advantage of you, who sit there and try to do everything they can to sit there and using whatsoever, you can love people from a distance. You can't sit there and truly love people from a distance. You can sit there and be like, you know what? I mean, I do love you, but I want to keep my distance from you. I mean, you have the right to do that. Just because you're at a process of loving yourself and loving others right, you have the right to sit there and place people in certain areas or distance from you so they won't sit there and try to take advantage of you. Because let's be real. Even though you sit there, you love others correctly and love others right, there's going to be people that's going to be out there who's going to try to take advantage of you, who sit there and don't appreciate you the way that you should be appreciated. So, and there's a good amount of chance that you still actually have love for them. So, instead of sitting there and, because instead of, loving them closely and whatsoever, or trying to change them, you love them from distance. Because let's be real. You can't you can love somebody as much as you can, but you can't change them. They have to change for themselves. They have to change for themselves. So you can't really truly change people. So the best thing you could do is just love them, from distance and change and learn, change yourself to, so you can sit there and protect yourself. That's the best way I can actually say, because let's be real, there's a lot of people who's some fucked up people, and yeah, they're not that great. they're not that great. They're not that great. They're not that great. So it's not that great. So other than that, that's about it for Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So in closing, when you love yourself, you end up loving others a lot more better. And the reason why is because you start to, first of all, from the example that you use for yourself, you start to learn how to actually truly love others the way how they're supposed to be loved, and see them for who they are and love them for who they are, and then how you perceive them, or how you see how you see their potential whatsoever. Now, why love yourself makes you love others, like I said before, it's just when it comes down to it, you learn a lot of aspects of yourself, and you learn how you don't really like certain things and don't want to be around certain things. So you start to learn, okay, you know what, maybe this person probably don't like this this or that, or you start to pay attention to the little things that they do. I mean, when it comes down to it, and when it comes down to it, each one teach one. So everything that you learn and you instill on others, they begin to learn themselves, and they will begin to actually teach others. So it's like a chain reaction. Bloop, 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 bloop. Blah. And when it comes down to it, you should think of it as a self-sustaining system, a system that once you like the things that you put in, it will come back and sit there and sustain you for it. So like the love that you put in, you're going to receive the love that you're going to get out of it. I mean, like, so why not use it? And it's pretty much like karma whatsoever. And loving yourself will affect every aspect of your life. So, and what I mean by that, it you know, your working life, your relationships, your personal life, it will affect it. So you start to notice that, you want to actually sit there and do this, that, take care of your health. So once you love yourself, it will affect every aspect of everything. And like I said, and one of the great examples, so like I said before, was Deep Talk with Sony Blaze versus, a few years ago, how I was basically just scrambling, just put out an episode and whatsoever, and not really putting in the concentration and love into it, versus now, how I'm one used to scheduling, putting in a lot of effort, scripting, and actually taking my time with it. When it comes down to it, and one of the greatest benefits of loving others is they be able to actually love you better. I mean, there's no better way to actually say it. Like, once one of the greatest benefits is that to be able to love you the way how you should be loved. And you do have to be careful, because there's going to be people who just sit there, going to take advantage of you. Now, and even though you do love them, you can love those people from a distance. Like, put them over there. You're like, yeah, I love you, but I'm gonna put you in this box right here. We're gonna put that right there, and that's what it comes down to it. But anyways, that's about it for this episode of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, and we got at least one more episode of the this month theme of You Gotta Love Yourself. Yeah, just one more thing, and then after that, we're gonna go and change up and how we're gonna do things, and most likely when we're gonna go back on doing these things is when we celebrate 1 year of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. So we'll see right back in July and do some 3 new themes and whatsoever, and we work from there. So this is going to be for, a message from Stanley from the future. Yeah, so I hear my name. So this is a message from Sony in the future. Hopefully you super successful, and you keep this up and don't miss a weekend. If you do, it's okay. I love you, man. You doing the hard work, and you putting in that time and effort onto it. And I hope for the much success for you, though, Sony. So I'll see you next year. Hopefully, we see some, big, beautiful things. And also, Sony, this is just for me and you, man. Make sure you redeem yourself. You know what I'm talking about. Redeem yourself. So anyways, thank you for joining me on this episode of Deep Talk with Sony Blaze. Now, before we go, let me know down in the comment section, like, what some of the benefits that you receive from loving others better. Let me know down in the comments. And like I said before, if you're not a subscriber, this is your first time joining Deep Talk with Sony Blaze, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and make sure if you agree with like the message in this video, make sure you like, share with others. Anyways, thank you for joining me in my corner universe. Peace.